Welcome back, beautiful souls, to Still With Sara. I'm so glad that you're here with me again. In our very first episode, The Beginning, I shared why this podcast exists to create a space where healing, spirituality, and the human experience can come together in a real, honest way. I told you a little bit about my own journey. Born in San Diego, growing up in Texas, my love for radio and how shows like Kid Craddock in the Morning gave me a sense of comfort and connection during those formative years. But today, we're turning inward. This episode is called The Journey Inward, because if I've learned anything from living with TBI, cPTSD, and AuDHD, and from working through a lot of trauma, it's that no matter how much noise is happening outside of us, the real transformation begins when we pause, get still, and look within. There's an old Hermetic teaching that says, as within, so without. You'll find it in the Hermetica and later in the Kybalion. It means that what we experience in the outer world is just a reflection of what is happening inside us. And if that's true, then learning how to heal, love, and expand inwardly might be the most important work any of us can do. So today, I want to take you on that journey. Not just through my story, but through wisdom of books and teachers who have guided me. Works like The Body Keeps the Score, The Untethered Soul, and ancient texts that remind us that the universe itself is mental, energetic, and deeply connected to the self. By the end of this episode, I hope that you feel inspired to begin your own journey inward, or to continue it with a fresh perspective, and maybe even pick up one of those books for yourself, because the wisdom they hold isn't just for me, it's for all of us. When I think about the journey inward, I can't help but think of my own story. I spent a little over half my life in Texas, and honestly, talk radio was one of my lifelines. Kid Craddock in the Morning was that place where I felt connected, like I was a part of something, even on days when my reality felt so far from normal. That's the beauty of voice, though, of conversation, and even of storytelling. It makes you feel less alone. As I got older and began living with TBI, complex PTSD, and AuDHD, I realized I was not only carrying the noise of the outside world, but also the constant storm inside of me. Trauma has a way of staying in the body. As the book The Body Keeps Score writes, the body keeps track of everything we experience, and it speaks through symptoms when we don't listen. For me, that was anxiety, overwhelm, and disconnection. And at some point, I realized no amount of external distraction, whether that be radio, no people pleasing, not numbing my pain, none of that was going to heal what was inside of me. And that's where the real inward journey began. Books like Michael Singer's The Untethered Soul taught me to notice that voice in my head, the critic, the worrier, the narrator, and to realize I'm not that voice. I'm the one who hears it. That was a game changer. But it hasn't just been books. I've also leaned into the teachers who are here, now walking this path with us. Josh and Leisha, through their work at Empathy Empire, have been incredible guides in my own unfolding. They remind us that empathy isn't just about how we treat others. It's about how we hold space for ourselves and our own healing. One of the things Josh often says is that we must become the observer of our patterns without judgment. That resonates so deeply with me, especially as someone who has lived through trauma and neurodivergence, because so often the healing begins not in fixing, but in noticing. And Leisha brings this softness, a reminder that the feminine energy within us, no matter who we are, is a powerful medicine. She speaks about compassion and presence in a way that makes you feel safe to go inward, even when it feels scary. So my personal story isn't just mine. It's woven with the voices of teachers, the wisdom of books, and the courage to pause and listen inward. And I want you to reflect with me for a moment. Where in your own life are you turning outward for answers when the truth might already be waiting inside of you? Now that we've gone inward through story, I want to take some time to share teachings that have guided me, and I hope that they can guide you too. Take what resonates and leave what doesn't. When I first began studying spirituality, I came across the Kybalion. It's a book that outlines the 7 Hermetic Principles. These principles are said to come from ancient Egyptian and Greek wisdom, and it's also referred to as a scribe of the gods. So here's the thing. You don't have to be religious or woo-woo to understand them. These principles are really about the laws of the universe, the patterns that shape everything. And when you apply them, we start to see how our inner world is directly connected to the outer one. Okay? I'm going to break them down for you. Number one is mentalism. All is mind. The universe is mental. Everything begins in the mind. Your thoughts create your reality. Michael Singer echoes this in The Untethered Soul. If we don't learn to notice our thoughts, we get trapped in them. Josh from Empathy Empire often teaches us that we must observe our thoughts without judgment because awareness is the first step towards transformation. The second principle is correspondence. As above, so below. As within, so without. Our outer world mirrors our inner world. This is why inner healing creates outer change. Astrology beautifully demonstrates this as well, reflecting the cosmos and the patterns that we live. Third principle is vibration. Nothing rests. Everything moves. Everything vibrates. Science now even confirms this, that everything is energy. Trauma healing, sound therapy, and even breath work on vibration. The book, The Body Keeps Score, talks about how trauma shifts the nervous system, literally changing your vibration. The fourth principle is polarity. Everything is dual. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. Light and dark, hot and cold, love and fear, they're not separate, but points on a spectrum. Josh and Leisha often remind us to hold both, shadow and light, with empathy instead of rejecting one side. The fifth principle is rhythm. Everything flows out and in, all things rise and fall. Life has seasons, expansion and contraction, birth and death, joy and grief. The book, Women Who Run with the Wolves, speaks beautifully about cycles and rhythms of the feminine psyche. Instead of resisting, healing comes when we ride the rhythm. The sixth principle is cause and effect. Every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. Nothing happens by chance. This isn't about blaming ourselves, but about taking radical responsibility. The sixth principle is cause and effect. Every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. Nothing happens by chance. This isn't about blaming ourselves, but about taking radical responsibility. Asra Uruhu teaches in human design, our energy patterns create ripples, whether we're conscious of them or not. Please remember that. The seventh principle is gender. Gender is in everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. This isn't about man and woman, let's just be clear. It's about balance, logic, and intuition, doing and being. Lisa from Empathy Empire often embodies this reminder. The feminine, compassion, softness, and care. It is not weakness, but simply medicine. There's one more principle, taught by my mentors Josh and Leisha through Empathy Empire, and it's called the Law of Care. It says, it's not enough to understand these principles intellectually. We must embody them through care. Care for ourselves, care for one another, care for the earth. Because knowledge without care becomes manipulation, but knowledge with care becomes transformation. This principle hits home for me because for so long I thought healing was about, quote, fixing myself. But Josh and Leisha remind us that healing is also about caring for ourselves where we are, as we are. That's the soil where true growth begins. Let's take a moment together. If you're able, close your eyes. If you're driving or moving around, that's okay. Just save this and come back and try it when you're able. Now, for those that can participate, get somewhere very comfortable. You can hear my chair squeaking in the background, sorry. Let's take one slow breath in for 4, hold for 4, and then exhale for 4, okay? So let's take a slow breath in. Hold for 4, and exhale gently. Let's do that again. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Exhale slowly out through the mouth. I want you to bring your awareness inward. Not to fix anything, not to judge anything, but simply to notice. Notice your breath. Notice your body. Notice your heart. We've been talking about the Hermetic Principles, so let's practice that together now. Ask yourself quietly, what part of me is asking for care right now? Maybe it's your body, tired, tense, needing rest. Maybe it's your heart, tender, carrying grief or longing. Maybe it's your mind, busy, swirling with stories. Just notice what comes up. And instead of rushing to fix it, simply place your hand over your heart or on your body and whisper it inwardly. I care for you. I see you. I love you. Because as within, so without. The care you give yourself in this moment ripples outward. It softens the way you speak to others. It happens and changes the energy of the spaces you enter. It heals not just you, but the collective. Remember, healing isn't always dramatic. Sometimes it's as gentle as one breath, one moment of compassion, one choice to turn inward instead of away. All right, so let's take another deep breath. Inhaling care, exhaling judgment. And just for this moment, know that you're enough, that your journey inward is sacred, that every time you pause and breathe, you're participating in the healing of generations before you and after you. Stay here for a few more breaths if you like. And when you're ready, slowly open your eyes, bringing with you the stillness, the compassion, and the care you just cultivated. Thank you for taking this journey inward with me today. I hope you felt a sense of connection to your own breath, to your own heart, and to the space that we're creating together. One of my favorite quotes from The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer is, "You have a wellspring of energy inside of you. The only reason you don't feel it is because you've blocked it. If you stay open, you will experience the energy of your true being." That's the essence of the journey inward. To stay open, to stay caring, and to meet yourself with compassion instead of resistance. And as for my mentors, Josh and Leisha, they remind us through their teaching of the law of care that wisdom without care doesn't transform. But when you bring care to yourself, to your patterns, and to the people around you, healing becomes inevitable. So, I invite you this week to do a few things. Sit with one of the principles that we talked about today. Journal about how it shows up in your life, and maybe even pick up one of the books that I've mentioned. The Body Keeps Score, The Untethered Soul, Women Who Run with the Wolves, or the Kybalion. Each one has been a lighthouse on my own path, and I believe that they can be for you too. And if something resonated with you, I'd love to hear about it. Share your reflections with me on social media or let me know how your journey inward is unfolding. Next time, in episode 3, we'll be exploring how these inner principles connect with the cosmos, astrology, human design, and the laws of the universe that map our inner world onto the stars. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Until then, take a breath, care for yourself deeply, and remember, the journey inward is the most important journey you'll ever take. I'm so grateful you're still with me. See you next time.